Now, now that we're looking at positioning and differences, what I want you to do is just try to see if you can plot a point or go with your partner after the video and see if you can plot a point and see if they can find that point for you and just double check. That's how you can kind of get better with the coordinate plane. But remember, just finding a coordinate plane and a number, that's a DLK level 1. That's not a hard question. What we really want to focus on is our word problems. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the next page and start on a couple of problems. Okay, the next page is the notes page, but page 7, which is this page, is a coordinate plane problem, and we got a couple steps we're gonna go with. Okay, so there's a lot of things we're gonna read. Okay, use the coordinate plane shown below to answer the following questions. So that's this coordinate plane here. I'll move it up in a little bit. Each unit represents 1 kilometer. Okay, a kilometer is a way of measuring distance. Okay, so if we look at this, every number here is not just 1, 2, okay? It's a little bit blurry, but as you guys can tell, you guys can kind of see where it's at, okay? And then we know that, sorry, it's right here. Even I had a hard time. But you can kind of see where they're at. And now that we know our coordinates, we can kind of see them, okay? So they're skipping 2, just kind of like what we did, so they're not jumbled. So we know that in between 0 and 2 is 1. Same thing, between 0 and negative 2 is negative 1. So each distance here is 1 kilometer, or km. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to write the ordered pairs that represent the location of Sam and the theater. Okay, so we need to figure out where Sam is, and we need to figure out where the theater is. So we're going to do the opposite. So we're going to find the point, and we're going to figure out what that point is. Okay, so well, Sam's here. I can see that clearly. Okay, Sam's here, and here's his point. Well, to find his ordered pair, I need to figure out what his x is and what his y is. So I'm going to set my ordered pair here. So if I look at my x-axis, I need to figure out if it's positive or negative. Well, Sam's in quadrant 1, so he's positive. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 kilometers on the x-axis. And what about the y-axis? Y-axis is going up and down. So he's going to go up 1, 2. So that's 2 there. So Sam's position is 4, 2. So I write that up here. So 4, 2 is Sam's position. So now that I've got that part. But remember, this is a 2-part question. So we need to find Sam and the theater. Okay? So now that we find Sam, we can find the theater. Okay? Let's look at the theater. Okay, the theater is all the way up here. What quadrant is that in? That's right, quadrant 2. 1, 2. All right, so let's look at the position. So I'm going to bubble this in a little bit clearer. Okay, well, if I look at my coordinate, so I can see my x-axis is going to be negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Okay, because it's going to the left 3, and it's going to go up 5. I can tell because this is 2, 4, and the number right here after 4 is going to be 5. Okay, so I found the theater's position is going to be negative 3, 5 is the theater's position. Okay, so that was one part of the question. Okay, now we're going to get to these multi-step questions where you're going to take one part of the question and use it for the next part. Now, if you get this part wrong, the rest is going to be very difficult because they all kind of go with each other. So you got to make sure that you get your coordinate planes, your ordered pairs correctly when you put these. Okay, so part 2 says, I know you don't see it, but it's 1b. This goes with this one. Describe Sam's location relative to the theater. So we're describing how Sam's position is compared to the theater. Well, if we look at Sam and we think about our compass again, okay? Remember, north, south, east, west. Sam is what distance from the theater? Well, first, look at north and south. He is south of the theater because he's below the theater. So first we can write Sam is south. But remember, we don't want to just write south and then east. We can kind of combine them together. So he's south, and then is he to the west or to the east of it? That's right. He's to the east. So he's southeast of the theater. So we are looking at these two, and we can kind of look at our position. Look, they even have a compass rose down here at the bottom. So we're looking at these two, and we're comparing they are. Okay, what about Beth? What is Beth compared to Sam? Well, she is to the north, south, because she's a little, even though she's one coordinate down, she's still southwest of Sam. So she's to the south and to the west of Sam right here compared to him. So that's what we're doing. We're kind of looking at them and we're comparing them and putting them kind of in position and relate them to each other. Now, if you guys look at your classmates in the room, you can kind of see your position as compared to them. So if you're sitting in the front, okay, and I'm looking at you, you can see where your position is to the west, to the east, to the north, to the south of each other. All right, so we have another problem that's going to go with this. So if we turn to the next page. Okay, so we're going to, same type of instruction, okay, but now we have something else. Sam wants to meet his friend Beth at a restaurant before they go to the theater, okay? The restaurant is 9 kilometers south of the theaters. So remember, each one of these is 1 kilometer. 1 kilometer, 1 kilometer. Plot and label a point representing the restaurant. What are the coordinates of the point? Okay. So if this is 9 kilometers south, south we know means down. Okay. If it's 9 kilometers south of the theater, so we start at the theater. Okay. If the theater's here, and we figured out the theater was at what? -3, 5. Okay, so we're gonna go south 9. South means down. Okay, look at our compass rose that right here. South means down. We're gonna go down 9. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we found the restaurant right here. So we need to figure out what the coordinates of this point is. So if we found it, we're gonna kind of see what it is. Okay. Now, let's look at our new ordered pair. Let's see what it says. Okay. Our x-axis is what? -1, -2, -3. Hey, look, that didn't change. That number did not change compared to the theater. But let's see what did change. Let's look at our y-axis. It's going to be -4. So our new coordinates are -3, -4. But we can kind of look at these two and see the comparison. Look, our y-axis change, which is our north and our south, okay? Because 5 and 4, the difference between +5 and -4 is 9 movements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? So this is kind of looking at the relative position to each other. Okay? This really kind of makes you really think about adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers and really thinking about the bigger picture than what it is. Okay? So I want you guys to kind of look at this again, and we're going to get to the next set of notes.